Okay, so tonight we're going to look at my Morse 4400. This would be my favorite Morse machine, except it's got a plastic cam in it, which is kind of a pain. If you look up in here, if this cam fails, none of your zigzags or other fancy stitches are going to function. That's just something you need to look at if you're looking at a 4400. Other features of the 4400, after I get this thrown on here real quick so it doesn't fly off. You have presser foot tension release. You can do lighter presser foot tension if you're going over thick seams in jeans. You can do really heavy pressure foot tension. You can adjust it for whatever you need. Down here, we have your stitch length lever. It's in stitches per inch. It goes from 6, 8, 10, 15, satin, and no movie. Your reverse button, and this is your zigzag width button. It's spring-loaded and it won't stay by itself. So to set it where you want, you press in the chrome foot and move it. You press in the chrome foot, move it. This selector will raise and sort of lower your presser feet or your feed dogs, but it's only got two positions, normal and nylon or silk. It's not all the way down. Another neat thing about all the Morses I have is that you can change out the needle plate if you need to. It looks like it's screwed down, but it really isn't. As soon as you pull the plate back, this just slides out. Hook it back in there, close this. This machine features several automatic stitch styles. You have the various wiggly ones, the Christmas tree one, whatever the oval one is, the one that looks like a heartbeat. I don't really know what they're all for. I don't usually use fancy stitches. You also have an automatic buttonhole feature, which I kind of like. It took me a little while to figure out what the M_LCO really meant, but the M is manual. The underscore is the bottom of your stitch. The L means the bottom and the left side of your stitch. The C is the bottom, left side, and top, and the O closes the circle. So this stitch is the bottom, this stitch is the left side, this stitch is the top, and the O stitch is the right side, thereby completing your stitch. So we're going to do a little demonstration on the machine. We're going to load some orange thread into the bobbin, mostly for contrast. It's not exactly the right spool, but it works. So to spool up a bobbin, put your thread in there, and we're going to run it through this first tensioner as if we were going to sew. Pull it over the Morse badge underneath this second bobbin tensioner. Go through the side of your bobbin, capture the thread, put it on the bobbin loader, push the spool in, hit the gas for a second. Let's cut this off, and we'll spool up some bobbin thread. As you can see, this machine does a nice, even bobbin load. I'm not going to load a whole bobbin this evening. However, if you did, this would keep rising. It would push up. It would signal you when it's done. So we're going to take our bobbin thread. Make sure the thread comes off to the top. Load it in your bobbin case. Through the diagonal groove. Under the spring plate. You can tell it's right if it looks like it spins the wrong way when you pull it. See that? Fancy. Pull back the plate. Pull this lever out that holds your bobbin. And we go down in here and we load the bobbin. Oops, dropped it. Sure, be a pain tonight. That's completely not how it's loaded. I have fat man fingers, so sometimes this is harder than it should be. Let's try that again. Pull this back. Get it on the pin. Lock it in place. Lever at 1 o'clock. Once that's there, we close this up. We steal away the orange thread, that's just for the bottom. We put on some white thread. Once again, we go through the top hole, we wrap around, we go through the bottom hole. We come down, make sure your foot is up, get between the tension discs, capture the spring. Make sure the spring goes up over the hook. We go through the take-up arm. On the 4400, there's an additional thread capture device right here behind the door. Get behind that. Get on this wire one here. On this machine, because the bobbin is in the back, the thread loads forward to back. Just like that. Pull the thread through, pull it under the foot. Let's pick up our bobbin thread. Slide it through the system. There we go. Okay, so let's do a couple stitches. Let's do a straight stitch. We're going to make sure that this is all the way to the left. We're going to set our stitches per inch to, I don't know, 8. Sounds about good. We're in manual. Our tension's about 2. We have a pair of black blue jeans for contrast. Let's do a simple straight stitch. Lower our foot. Machine goes nice and slow. Spin our thread up. Pull it out. There you go. We have a nice straight stitch on the top. We have a nice orange stitch on the bottom. Tension looks good. Want to do a zigzag stitch? We come back over here. We set the width of our zigzag to wherever we want. Let's do a fairly wide one for a demo. This is spring loaded, so in order to hold it in position, you need to push the chrome lever in and over. There we are, we're holding our zigzag stitch. So let's go over here and do a nice zigzag. We'll make this one fairly wide, fairly fast. Pull it out. You see we got a beautiful zigzag on the top. We got an equally beautiful orange zigzag on the bottom. Not too shabby. One thing I like about the Morses is they do really great buttonholes. To do a buttonhole on the Morse, you're going to want to set your width for your buttonhole. It's cute, it says buttonhole zone. We want to move this up to one of the satin stitch settings. We want to move the fabric so we're at the bottom of your buttonhole. Set your needle down, put this to the bottom bar tack. Let's give it a bar tack. Make sure your needle is up. We'll switch this to the left side. This puts the machine in reverse and it will back up. Get to the top. Make sure your needle is up. We're going to click this one more time to the C position, which is actually the top bar tack. Once that bar tack is sufficient, make sure your needle's up. Click this to the O, which closes the buttonhole. Machine up, put this back in manual with our presser foot. There you go, we got a buttonhole. Looks pretty good on both sides. If I was actually doing a buttonhole, I would have closed that up a little better, but you see how that works. So if we want to do any of the fancy stitches, we got to make sure this is in manual, and we need to move this to whatever our choice of fancy stitches may be. In this case, let's do the Christmas tree stitch. So we click, 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 click. We're in the Christmas tree mode. Make sure your needle's up when you do that. Lower the foot, set the width, set the distance between stitches. Satin Christmas trees are my favorite, so we'll leave it up in satin mode. We'll give her a blast. Pick our needle up. There you go. We have just a tiny bit of orange thread showing up here. We could loosen the tension, but this is just a demo. Bottom looks good, top looks good. Let's flip it over here and we'll pick, this time we'll pick the oval one. Oh, we'll do the heartbeat one, the one next to the oval. Why not? make this one a little less satiny, we'll go to 15 stitches. Give her a shot. There you go. Beautiful. We have other options. We have this kind of moon-shaped thing. We got some other zigzags. We got the one that looks like almonds. That always looks better in satin mode, so let's do some almonds. Of course, you can change the width of your almonds by sliding this down. There you go. We have fat almonds, we have skinnier almonds, we have almonds. This thing does everything. It does the blind stitch, does all the fancy stuff you could use. We'll give this one a maximum blind stitch. There you go. You got a beautiful blind stitch. Want to go back to straight stitching? Put it back in manual. Leave it manual. Set where you want to be. We'll take this seam. This is a plenty strong machine, so we'll go right up to the seam. Take it out of zigzag mode. And let's go for it. You can go really slow. Climb up on the thick part. Rotate it. We'll go right through the thick part. Spin her down. Give her a nice rotation. We'll lengthen this a little bit. And just because we're messing with things, we'll do a zigzag to finish her up. Hit reverse. There we go. That's my Morse 4400. Hope you enjoyed it.